Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for Pinkfresh Studio. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am going to share this adorable gatefold card. It kind of has a little surprise, and I'm featuring the Plumeria product suite. Now I wanted to show you this suite in its entirety because it includes a stamp set which has this beautiful large floral design as well as 3 greetings. The press plate includes that same beautiful Plumeria design along with 2 greetings that you can either use with your Better Press or your hot foil system. And then the die set includes the 2 larger greeting dies as well as that large floral outline die. And all of these products can be used together. I'll also be using the stencil set today. But the main feature is really this Plumeria press plate, and say that 10 times fast. So I'm going to start with doing a little hot foiling with this press plate. Now my platform is on, but it's not yet ready because that second indicator light has not illuminated yet. But while that's heating up, I'm going to get my die cut machine ready and my foil and my cardstock panels. Now you'll know it's ready when that second light turns green, and then I can go ahead and hit that timer button. I'll be using a couple panels of A2 size white cardstock along with some black hot foil today. And once my timer is complete, I can remove the platform from the base, and I'm going to place it onto my Platinum 6 die cutting machine while I do the next steps. I'm going to add my foil with the pretty side facing the pattern of the press plate. And then I'll grab my smooth white cardstock. The smoother, the better. Hammer mill cardstock or Concord and Ninth cardstock is fabulous for foiling. Once my cardstock is in place, I'm going to grab the 2 shims that come with the Glimmer hot foil system, place those on top, creating my sandwich, and then run that through my die cutting machine. Now this heat and pressure combined together is going to transfer that foil using that press plate on to my cardstock, and you can see the beautiful results that I have here. Now this black hot foil has a little bit of shine to it, but there's no dimension. If you wanted to do this with your stamp set and some hybrid ink along with some clear embossing powder, you could get a similar look that would have a little bit of dimension to it as well. So keep in mind, this card that I'm creating today can definitely be created with the stamp set as well. I just thought it would be cool to use this black hot foil. I kind of had an itching to do some hot foiling today, and so that's what I'm doing. Now, in order to create this gatefold design, I'm going to need 2 of these Plumeria floral bunches. So I'm doing this a second time. And I like to kind of show you this in real time so that you know you do have a little bit of time to get everything in position on your die cutting machine before you run it through. You're not going to run out of heat or time when you're taking your time to get everything positioned. Now that I have my 2 Plumeria bundles ready to stencil, I'm going to create a couple of sentiments while I have my hot foil system out. So again, I'm using that same black hot foil and I'm using the same smooth white cardstock. I do have a couple of sentiments here. And by the way, I will make sure to have everything listed in the YouTube description below. So if you're looking for any of these products, you'll be able to find them there. I'm going to run those through my die cut machine, and then again, I have beautiful results with these press plates, and eventually I'll use the coordinating dies to die cut these out. But first, we're going to do our stenciling. I'm placing my first Plumeria design onto a grip mat here, and then I'm lining up stencil number 1 and just kind of pressing that onto the grip mat. Here's a look at the colors that I'm going to be using today. Some beautiful greens, that cherry blossom, along with some sweet mustard, just a touch of that. And I'm starting out with stencil number 1 and the Evergreen color. I'm using the large 1-inch blending brush from Pinkfresh Studio, and my goal is to add some darker color towards the base of the leaves and allow it to kind of fade out as I get towards the tips. Now, eventually I am going to bring in a different color towards the base of these leaves because I felt like once I got the olive on stencil number 2, there wasn't enough contrast between these 2 greens, at least for my liking. So now that I have stencil number 2 in place, I'm coming in with the olive, again, adding a darker or heavier hand towards the base of the leaves and allowing it to fade out as it gets towards the tips. Once I'm done with stencil number 2, I'm going to move on to stencil number 3. And for stencil number 3, I'm actually going to add just a little bit of sweet mustard towards the center of these florals before I go over the entire open area with some cherry blossom. Now these colors are going to kind of mix together and they're going to create a little bit of an orange hue in the center, and I'm totally fine with that. In fact, that's what I wanted to happen. So stencil number 3 is done, and we will move on to stencil number 4. For stencil number 4, I started out with fresh pear and I went over the entire stencil with fresh pear. I have switched to a 1/2 inch blending brush for this because the openings are smaller and that allows me a little more control. I decided I didn't like the fresh pear in the center of these flowers, and so I went over the top of it with gathered twigs to give it a more neutral color. For stencil number 5, I'm coming in with cherry blossom again. This is some floral details, and I'm just darkening up that color towards the center of the florals. If you wanted a little higher contrast for those floral details, you could use a darker color in that pink color family, but I thought the tone on tone looked beautiful. I went back to stencil number 1 and darkened up those areas towards the base of the leaves with the Lush Forest ink, and that completes my stenciling. And I went ahead and repeated that same exact process for my second Plumeria little floral bundle here. Now I have the coordinating die and I'm lining that up over my foiled and stenciled image, running that through my die cut machine, and you can see that beautiful piece. I die cut both of those and then I die cut my sentiments as well. And now that I have all my pieces, we can get started on this fun gatefold card. I have a piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and I'm scoring it at 5 1/2 inches to create a top folding note card. This is really important for this particular design of card because it's going to give us kind of like a triple open design, and you'll see this will make more sense here in just a moment. Now I'm lining up my 2 little Plumeria designs on the front of this card, and I'm allowing a little to kind of hang over both the right and left sides of this card front so that I can create some tabs to attach these to the back and create a gatefold with these designs. So you can see I'm just kind of wiggling them into place. And once I have them where I want them, I am going to grab some repositionable tape and I'm going to hold them in place because I'm going to do a little scoring along the edge of this card front in order to make that gatefold. I decided this needed to be reinforced just a little bit more, just in case. So I brought in some more tape and now I'm taking this over to my scoreboard. I've lined up this right edge of the card with one of the wells or the openings in my scoreboard, and I'm running my scoring tool right down that opening to create a score line on the actual parts of the Plumeria design that are overhanging the card. I repeated that process on the left side of the card, and once I have them scored, I can go ahead and flip this over and fold back those pieces that are hanging off the front of the card. This is creating a couple of tabs where we can then adhere these designs to the back of the card, and they will eventually open in a gatefold design. So you can see I still have those little designs held in place with my repositionable tape, and now I'm flipping the card over to the back side again, and I'm adding liquid glue to those tabs that we created with the score lines. I'm going to do it to both sides, and once I have the liquid glue in place, I'm going to fold these over and adhere them to the back side of this card base. I'm going to bring in some magnets and place them over the top just to kind of keep those down while they're adhering. And once they're adhered, I can go ahead and flip this back over and gently remove that repositionable tape that was keeping my Plumeria bundles in place. Now I'm being really careful because this ink could have been still a little wet when I put the tape in place, and I don't want to rip my designs. And now you can see my tri-fold or my gatefold design that I've created with these Plumeria designs. I think this is so much fun. I've had this design in my head for a while, and I just wanted to create it for all of you here. Now I am grabbing the Postage edge rectangles, and I'm going to die cut the second largest one from some craft cardstock. And that's going to sit behind these 2 Plumeria designs on the front of my card just to bring in a little bit of something extra. I'm attaching it with some tape runner adhesive directly to the card front. It'll kind of poke up out of the top of that upper right-hand side and the lower left-hand side, and it also gives something kind of interesting on the card front as you open the gatefold design. Now, I did want to show you, these will interlock as well if you position them just right. I didn't really plan for that, but they do interlock, and that kind of helps to hold them together. In order for them to lay more flat, it's really important that your score lines are very reinforced along the edge of your card front. Now I'm taking my sentiment and I have stacked a couple of plain white die cut layers behind it, and I'm attaching it to that lower right Plumeria bundle using some liquid glue. I'm just laying it right there on top. I'm keeping this card pretty simple because I think the surprise of opening up those floral designs in order to kind of open the card completely is enough on its own. And I absolutely love this Plumeria stamp and press plate and coordinating stencils from Pinkfresh Studio. I think it is so playful and so big and bold. It could be so versatile, used for a variety of styles of cards. And I just love playing with it. I love it with a touch of black. I think it brings a little bit of modern touch to it as well. Now, to cover up the tabs on the back side, I'm just taking a panel A2 size, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 of cardstock, and I'm placing it on the back side of my card base using some tape runner adhesive. That's going to hide all of the pieces that are kind of folded over onto the back side and give the back of this card a really clean look. This is obviously a step that you could skip if that doesn't bother you, but I wanted to show it here in this video so that you knew that you could really clean up this card design if you want to. Now, once all of that was in place, I decided that that little postage rectangle needed a little something. So I grabbed one of my press plates from my stash from Pinkfresh Studio. This is the twisted pattern design, and I'm going to emboss it using my die cutting machine. So I'm taking the embossing mat that comes with my die cutting machine, and I am replacing the magnetic shim that I normally use with that embossing mat, and I ran that through. Now, it did have a little extra pressure because you can see I have some adhesive backer paper on the back of my postage rectangle because it had some tape runner adhesive on it, and I didn't want it to stick to my embossing mat. But I was able to just smooth that out with my finger and then reattach that to my card front, and that gave that a little bit of texture and interest there on the inside of my card. So that finishes off this fun gatefold design card featuring the Plumeria stamps, dies, press plate, and coordinating stencils from Pinkfresh Studio. I, of course, used the press plates today, but you could definitely do this with the stamp as well. I really hope you enjoyed this fun fold card design. I think it's really unique to use these large floral elements like this as a gatefold design. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube, so if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. As always, I want to say thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here so you don't miss any of the fabulous paper crafting and card making video tutorials we share. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.